Hi, I'm Madonna Hamel, and I am going to be reading from a piece I wrote while I was at Stegner House in East End as their writer-in-residence. And I performed it on Earth Day, so seeing as we were all inside, I called it Hearth Day. So this is just a segment. If you find yourself in a strange and fearful time, in a house with only a ghost for a host, perched on the edge of your bed, stretch yourself across the chasm of live-streamed noise and listen to the streams of living things instead. Hollered over choir of redemption, equipoised outside the window. The owl, the coyote in the hills, wind in the dry grass, rain against the windowsill, the voles in the ground, and not a single man-made sound. My friends in the big eastern cities envy me my western emptiness, more seclusion than isolation, with space enough between the few to still see the big view. To keep nature's artery open to more than meets the eye. Every morning I step out onto a landscape more alive than mine. But even in the city, I say, blocks from the nearest park, nature is no more than a foot away. Compost in the kitchen, seeds in an egg carton, growing on into the dark. A spider web in the corner, jade plant in a clay pot. Flame rising from a candle, a fire in the hearth, smoke rising from incense, tobacco or a smudge, steam rising from a kettle or a pot of boiling pasta. A beetle crossing the sidewalk, the cat asleep on the couch, sunlight passing over the pillow, the ground beneath the building, a living foundation. All of them elementals, living relations. There's no map for this. It's not what you planned. Anyone who's ever taken a trip or written a story understands no matter how you strategize or plot and configure. At one point, in order to salvage the situation, in this case, your very life, you reach around for your pen and your penknife. Start trimming fat from the bone. Start writing letters, please, brotherly love poems. Maybe we can save ourselves with these half-remembered ritual words and gestures passed on from the dead, sacred if tarnished signals like the prairie benediction, 2 fingers lifted from the steering wheel, and that mysterious gift of a loaf of bread. And someone left a week's worth of lasagna on my front porch and a bottle of red. Behold, the language of neighbor chasing away the language of dread. Nothing clever, nothing fancy, no tricks to get your goat, no vying for ratings or ploys to win your vote, no jostling for position or promotion, and no more hard-hitting stories. Turn it off, you tell yourself, just for tonight. It just adds to the worry. If my mother were here, she'd holler from the kitchen, "You kids go outside!" Practice transcending the theater of the world and the limitations of your own doubt. Run with wonder just a little farther till the fear peters out. Every day is an exercise in realizing it matters the words we use. The shape that hope takes as it escapes your mouth is the shape of a little sail unfurled, and the breeze that fills it, that's the slow breaking news from the subtle world. Breath of baby, screech of hawk, sagebrush brushes against your skin, pungent saving grace, you breathe it deeply in. An owl on the branch, hoo, hoo, shapes your sleep. Coyotes in all corners, a dog's bark down the street, the muscled blue roan. Solid, royal, untroubled as a stone. The call of geese and the sweet release of the slide guitar gliding across the room in a dream. Before I can answer, click goes the answering machine. And it's gone, save for the song and the shimmering blue of the roan. Despite the collective anxiety of this time, the inescapable reality lurking outside my own hyperactive mind, despite the varying linguistic shades of daily confinement from monastery mode to on retreat, to quarantine, to lockdown, to isolated, to sheltering in, to burrowing in, to refinding refuge, despite the tumbleweed tumbling through the middle of town, Despite the shock of deprivation, incapacitation, and useless rationalizations, despite the time it takes to remember the childhood rituals, the calls for angels and animals across yards, rivers, between streets and over hills, despite the lost ancestral songs to quell internal encounters and external limitations, despite what I cling to and what I forget to keep, I'm having some great sleeps. Home is the place we head for in our sleep, writes Louise Erdrich. Once the realm of poetry and prophecy, now dismissed as vaguely amusing and certainly not divinely inspired, limits our dreams to one per story now. Dreams are so old school, they're a last resort, the editors warn. You'll be sorry. But dreams spring up like flames in unknown times like these, like mushrooms, like weeds sown into our days, so our nights are full. Our dreams return, mothers of others, and new dreams with recurring themes, and I stoop to hear their whispers like the old rabbis and the shamans did. In times of great upheaval, take note of your dreams, the old ghost says at the end of the bed. And listen, I still don't have a clue. Okay, maybe I have a clue what they're supposed to mean. I just know that part of this dance is just being willing to be seen. And what remains, suspended in interpretation, is motivation. It's that oddly wrapped gift of desperation. Dreams are prophets themselves, or once they were held that way. They see ahead of us. They know no fear. They do not speak in terms of limited time or hindered space. Theirs is the language of infinite associations, where vitality meets grace. Together we've been tethered, ground to a halt, so why not start over together too? Instead of just dragging ourselves through a long piece, leaving behind fragments of an ineffectual shift, with no real leap of transcendence or clarity achieved, what if we all slowed down on permanent reprieve from the rat race and the breakneck pace? No one gets a head start, no siphoning on the side, no one saving face. We set the bar at a saner height. We all take a month off every year and sleep a little longer every night. We all stay close to home, walk the shorelines and the hills, invite the neighbors over for a barbecue or cards or a puppet show, because you always wanted a neighborhood where people get together and marvel at each other's potato salads and how fast the children grow. The old nightmares where we wandered alone in all the wrong places, well, they're everybody's weird dream now, and they don't go away when we wake. We can turn for solace to our devices, kill time like it's for our own good, or we can catch the sun setting over our neck of the woods. We can take to the hills where the dinosaurs roamed, where the deer and the antelope play, oblivious to the living and the dead. Where if ever is heard an encouraging word, we can take it and eat it like bread.